Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Vicker. I teach in the Department of Media and Communication at St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York.
And I'm Ellen Monk. I teach in the Department of Accounting and MIS at the Lerner College of Business and Economics at the University of Delaware.
And we are here to talk to you about a new and diverse interpretation of the 4 S's: size, subject, support, and one more that we will be adding at the end. And now Ellen's going to kick things off by talking about size.
As I said, I teach at the University of Delaware. It's a rather large school with about 25,000 students. We used to have smaller classes in the business college, but now our classes are ranging between 40 and 50 students. And the grading for the IRAT and the TRAT can become quite burdensome. So what I do is I group my students into groups of 5 or 6. There's some pictures of my students working on their IRATs and TRATs. And what I do is I put the IRAT on our course management system. So I let the grading become automatic. And then I put the TRAT in a folder that the students work on as a group. Here's a picture of what I do. So step 1 is I save the quiz on the course management system. We have Canvas as our course management system. And the students have a timed quiz. They all take it at the same time. And the grades are the answers are submitted, and then they can see their answers. So they can't go back and look at those. Then I hand out a folder, that's my step 2, that contains a hard copy of the quiz so they can read it as a group again, and also the scratch-offs. Then they answer the questions, and this is an example of a question I have on the slide. And then step 3, they grade their own scratch-off quizzes as I go through the correct answers on the board and talk to them about it. And then I collect those folders and I type those grades into the course management system and add the 2 grades up to give that grade for the IRAT and the TRAT together. Now we'll find out what a smaller school with a smaller size does. Lauren?
So St. John Fisher College is a small liberal arts college, and in the College of Arts and Sciences we actually have rather small class sizes, especially at the upper level. So I might have as few as 9 to 12 students, and that means that our TBL groups are very small, sometimes as small as 3 to 4 per group. And that means that we can do TBL very traditionally, meaning that we're able to do the IRAT and the TRAT on hard copy with the scratch-offs, and then I'm able to keep track of everyone and move on to the application exercises. That's a little bit about size, but we know subject matter is also really important, and Ellen's going to talk about the impact of subjects.
So I teach management information systems, and for those of you that are not familiar with the subject area, it's basically computers in business. And it's very, very challenging to write multiple choice questions and really good application exercises. I was very fortunate during my TBL workshop in Vancouver Island to have some help from the workshop leaders, and they suggested to me that I should create some questions that are a little bit ambiguous, like things about security or ethics within the computer industry, and some of the things that I didn't stress in class, like actually programming a spreadsheet, writing a program, making a database query. So the idea was that I really had to move away a little bit from all those number crunching skill exercises to something a little bit more individual. And there are other subject matters, though, where writing application exercises might be a little bit easier. Lauren?
So obviously, communications is a really good fit for TBL because there are things that everybody agrees on, but there's a lot of room for discretion in the execution of public speaking and interviewing as examples of 2 classes I teach. So the TBL focus can be the IRAT and the TRAT, and we can do that very traditionally with questions from the textbook, from other readings, from class time, but also the application exercises can be used to help the students not only learn the content, but also to build their own skills. So the application exercises that we use are actually targeted to specific assignments. And as one example, we have students critique a speech that another student has delivered and given me permission to use. And that helps the students to learn the rubric that will be used to grade them on their speeches. So the benefit is that the students get to share their perspectives about what they think works well in a speech and what kinds of things they need to work on in the future, but also gives them familiarity with the rubric. So here's an example of, this is a student who was giving a speech, and what the individual groups do is they go through the rubric, and for each component, preparation, audience analysis, introduction, thesis, they grade them A through F. And so the students have an opportunity to really see what works, what they think works, and to really talk about that. And if you don't have the budget for menu stands, one of the things that you can do is you can make your own stands by using CD cases. We have a lot of those laying around, and we put the voting cards in there, and the students just put those up on the desk. And we actually have had some really good discussions from the simultaneous voting, including these two groups that came out between A and D. So that's a real difference for subject matter. But we also have a big difference in terms of the support that's available. And Ellen's going to talk about the support she has at the University of Delaware.
So my journey to TBL all began by going to a workshop in Vancouver Island. And I went there because one of my colleagues, actually, who's now a trainer consultant, was very interested in TBL. So we went to that sparked my interest. I started teaching a little bit with TBL. I also got a lot of support from our faculty commons. At University of Delaware, we have a whole space devoted in a building to teaching online, teaching with technology, other teaching supports. We have rooms where we can record, and there's workshop areas and so on. And they've been very, very supportive of me, and they've also tapped into some of my expertise now to give workshops or speak at a portion of a workshop for other faculty. So we're really kind of bringing TBL to lots of different faculty at the University of Delaware. And then finally, I've also been involved with the inter-university roundtable, where I used vehicles such as Zoom to talk to and work with another group of faculty. And Lauren can tell you a little bit more about that.
And my journey to TBL has been a little bit more recent. I actually have been teaching group dynamics for over 3 decades and had never heard of team-based learning. And Ellen was so excited after her Vancouver workshop. She was telling me about it, and it actually inspired me to attend a TBL workshop and get an idea of what it was and what was going on. As a result of that, we actually asked Ellen to Zoom in to a meeting of interested faculty at my school. I just sent out an email, say anybody interested in hearing about team-based learning. And we got about 12 or 15 people to come. And out of that, people became very interested in doing some more research and seeing how it would fit into their classes. And so we started a summer teaching learning circle, which was really interesting because it was such a diverse group. We had people from pharmacy, people from the first year program, people from legal studies, psychology, sport management, and everyone had an opportunity to talk about their field and then figure out how it might work. And the good thing that happened as a result is that everyone was forced to explain exactly what they were doing to people who were totally unfamiliar with their field. So we were able to really critique it and make sure that they were explaining things in a way that their students would understand. And that led to a Convocation Day presentation that we did early in September. And we gave a presentation about what we had learned during the teaching learning circle and how we were going to be integrating that into our courses. And we asked people to sign up if they were interested in a workshop. And so later on the academic year, we actually had a workshop for faculty as well as librarians to talk about team-based learning and see what kind of interest there was. We also found out along the way that there were some people who were doing TBL on their own and had never joined the collaborative, just had heard about it and thought it would be interesting. So it became pretty interesting to see how TBL can evolve even on a small campus and how you can still get support even if there's nobody in your field who's doing team-based learning. And one thing that both of us really want to emphasize is that the majority of support actually comes from the Team-Based Learning Collaborative. We're not just saying that because they sponsored the conference, but because people in TBLC have been really helpful. Whenever there's a question or an issue or you're just concerned about something, you put something up on the listserv and get so many great responses from people who are new to TBL as well as some of the people who were founders of TBL. And I know that when I was teaching group dynamics and we were looking for application exercises for things like leadership or group norms, we came up with so many good examples from people, and it was really exciting to see how helpful everyone has been. So we want to emphasize that for people who are looking for help and support for their team-based learning activities. And now we have talked about 3 of the S's, but we have 1 more to go.
Okay, so we had size, subject, support, and now we can reveal we have siblings. Lauren and I are sisters, if you didn't guess, because we have the same or very similar voice. There's a picture of us when we were very young, and then some pictures of us more recently. So it's interesting. I think you can find support for your team-based learning in many, many different places, and in an unexpected place, perhaps even in your own family.
So we're really sorry we were not able to give this presentation to you in person. We were also looking forward to a trip to Portland, and yet we would be happy to have you reach out to us with any questions or comments. So connect with us, and hopefully you too can find a way to work TBL into your curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you.